When we talk about the shopping mall, we often think of its physical attributes. We think of the color of the paint of the walls. We think of the storefronts. We think of the different stores within the mall. We think of the holiday music blaring through the speakers as we scramble to find the perfect last-minute gift for a holiday party that starts in 30 minutes. But there is one attribute that one also thinks about when thinking about malls: the people. The people are the foundation of the American shopping mall more than the physical brick and mortar creating the building. Whether you have visited the mall once or visited it every time you were in town, the shopping mall has the capacity to have a lifelong impact on its consumers. And the owners of these malls are no strangers to this idea. The Mall of America is a prime example of retail becoming an experience. Coming from Monticello, Indiana, where the closest mall is 45 minutes away, being at the Mall of America was my biggest domestic culture shock. I did not expect that I would ever spend 4 hours within a mall and still not see everything there was to see. But that is not the case when it comes to the Logansport Mall, located in Logansport, Indiana, 30 minutes from where I grew up. Not anymore, anyway. Upon walking into this mall, you are greeted with the loudest silence you'll ever encounter in a mall. The huffing and puffing of mall walkers greet you every few steps, and the local radio plays throughout the barren mall, which makes your presence feel less isolated. There is no sound of running water from a decorative fountain. There is no sound of parents trying to track down their kids as they run away to the arcade. There is no beeping and upbeat music coming from the arcade games and vending machines. There is no longer barking and meowing coming from the pet shop, but the pet shop is not alone. You will most likely be greeted by a few cats enjoying their afternoon nap, as I was here. The Logansport Mall opened in 1968, which is a time in American history when shopping malls were on a rise. Flash forward almost 50 years, and the Sears closed its doors permanently, and then in July 2017, the JCPenney on the other end of the mall followed. But the mall was on its decline prior to these large store closings. This Facebook one-star review from 2014 is validation to that statement. This 2015 Facebook post that tags the mall has a customer reminiscing on their childhood, such as getting their ears pierced at Claire's and witnessing the opening of Bath & Body Works. The following comment stuck with me the most. The Logansport Mall has been struggling for decades, and yet it somehow continues to survive. So, why has it survived? Is it the booming denim sports business? Is it the community hosting a holiday Santa that is available for pictures during the holidays? Or does the Logansport Mall survive on people telling their personal stories of the mall and hoping that one day it'll become what it once was? When visiting the mall myself, I decided to ask a few employees of Denim Sports the following question. Why do you think the mall has survived despite you being the only business here? The employee quickly jumped to mention the future plans of the mall to be built into a hotel and to bring back future vendors. He also stated that they were the only sporting goods store in the city. So, I proceeded to ask what they think would happen to the mall if Denim Sports located elsewhere in the city, similar to how Maurice's did. He said they wouldn't do that, but he did not provide a reason for his answer. I briefly asked them if they thought nostalgia affected the mall's survival prior to the hotel plans. The employee said that he thought nostalgia had nothing to do with the business because it's about numbers, but his coworker said that I had a good point, that many people come into the mall to reminisce on what once was. He said he thought it was partially financial and partially nostalgia, while the original employee refused to accept nostalgia as part of the foundation keeping the mall standing. But throughout my own research on the mall, I constantly noticed the memories and nostalgia coming forward on their own whenever the phrase the Logansport Mall was brought up. The Logansport Mall had a lot of unique pieces that solidified themselves in the memories of those old enough to recall their time spent at the mall. For instance, there was one kiddie ride that shifted around the mall, but it is the strongest memory I have of my childhood inside the shopping center. Upon recent investigation, the ride has since been removed from the mall, but some of the kiddie rides remain and have been relocated to the center of the building where the two main paths intersect. The other main attraction that came up consistently without me leading the question in this direction was Bickle's Toy Store. This long-gone store is recognizable by its red shag carpeting, staircase that shows that it once had multiple levels, and distinctly framed storefront. This 2016 mall review photographed the storefront and reminisced on what once was their favorite store. A prior teacher of mine told me about their mall memories and said, "I remember how cool the toy store was. I don't remember buying toys there, but the storefront was so unique." Another hometown staff member commented on the Gruen effect of the toy store. There was a toy store there that I used to take my kids to. They loved to visit that store. They could look for hours. One Logansport resident's comment stood out among the other toy store comments. There was this big toy store, and it had every toy you could imagine. My family couldn't afford a shop there, but I remember going in there often and looking at all of the toys. It's how I imagine Santa's workshop. Now that I'm older, every time I go in there, I stand outside of where the store used to be. I reminisce on what it was, and it is now. When the store closed, I think a part of me went with it. It was like realizing my childhood was coming to an end. After visiting the mall, I published some of the photos I took on my personal Twitter account and received more interaction than I expected to. I noticed that the locations of those interacting with the tweet were primarily in Logansport or surrounding towns, which made me realize I was bringing people together with a common string of memories we all have. This tweet became its own discussion board where people felt free to share their thoughts without me asking them to. Here are some of the responses I received. As previously mentioned, the Logansport Mall is expected to undergo some changes in the near future with its new Chicago area owner. The eastern portion of the mall will be demolished to create a new location for a national brand name hotel. Existing mall tenants, all three of them, will remain, and the developer is in the process of securing other tenants. I decided to ask some local residents if they thought the redevelopment would be a successful move for the mall. One person said, "I don't think it will be successful at all. Logansport always adds hotels or renovates them. We aren't a big city and don't have a reason for people to come. The old mall needs business that will bring in people and money, and that is the opposite of another hotel." Another source stated that Logansport is simply not the same town it used to be, and that the curb appeal won't be great at all. These are a few of the comments published under the City of Logansport's announcement of the mall redevelopment that I found interesting. Some of them bashed on the idea of the new hotel. One person wants a Wendy's built instead, which is understandable, but some people praise the future mall endeavors. While the future of the mall is unknown, there is no denying that rooted in the foundation are the millions of memories the mall has created for many over the course of 50 years. The mall stands on more than just a cement foundation. It stands on a foundation created by its community, sealed together with the memories and stories of things now far gone. So, why is the mall still standing despite it struggling for decades? It looks like the nostalgia has kept the community looking for a developer that would commit to bringing back what once was.